Good evening, Facebook friends. Thanks for joining this evening. We are going to get started right at 7 o'clock. I have quite a few people on my Zoom this evening, so it's going to be hard for me to bounce back and forth with the Facebook and YouTube audience. So appreciate it. Appreciate your patience. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat box, and I promise you I will circle back at the end and answer any questions you have. Thanks for watching. Hey, before we get started, if you could please let me know, where is everybody from? I tend to serve southeastern Michigan, the Detroit metropolitan area. My last webinar, I had several people from out of state. And this week, I think I have spoken with people in Connecticut, Virginia, Florida, Texas, California. So word's getting out. So especially with the app that we have recently launched, basically gives people all of the down payment assistance programs and grants that are available across the country. So if you have any friends or family members that are renting right now, I'm going to give you a link for the Android store, or I should say Google Play Store and Apple Store, where you can download our app to see all the programs that are out there, from down payment assistance to grants to tax credits. There is so much money that's out there. I actually learned of a new program in Detroit this week for more of the, when I say underserved communities, it's more in the empowerment zones, where it was offering up to $60,000 to $70,000 if you're purchasing in an empowerment zone and a HUD house. There were quite a few boxes to check. So, but still, the amount of money out there, just when I think it should be going the other direction based on what we hear in Washington, there's still a lot of money in play out there. Detroit, great. Hey, thanks for the address, Latoya in Southfield. Great. I'll run that address shortly. All right. Anybody outside the Detroit metropolitan area? Okay. And okay, can you see my screen? We got that screen shared. All right. And let's get back here. And window. Okay. Thank you all very much for carving out time this evening. It's one of the few, I don't want to say few, but I feel like this summer we've had no shortage of rain. And actually yesterday was no exception to that. So looks like a beautiful evening this evening. So I always appreciate when people carve time out of their schedule to spend some time with me, learning about the different down payment assistance programs and grants that I help connect people with. So this evening, hope you get some good educational content out of it. And with that being said, I'm going to just jump right into it. Please feel free to ask any questions along the way. Just type it right in the chat box. I try to answer them as they pop up. Sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. So what I do is I circle back and I'll answer as many questions as you have. I'm here for the duration. So again, thank you all very much for carving time out of your day. So who is today for? Well, right now, let's start off with my promises this evening. First and foremost, there is no sales pitch here. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to give you as much educational content as I possibly can. More importantly, I'm here to build some hope. A lot of people hear about the different programs and grants and down payment assistance programs that are out there, but I don't know too many people that do what I do, and that's help people connect with those programs and give you a clear path to success, to purchase with just a few $1,000s out of pocket using these programs. So tonight, no sales pitch. I'm going to give you access to my application that we just launched on the Google Play and Apple Store. That'll give you access to over 25. It says 23, but there's now up to 2,500 programs across the country. I know there's at least 23 located inside the city of Detroit, and there typically is about 20 in all the surrounding areas in southeastern Michigan. So no shortage of programs out there. So we're going to show you how to find those programs, and I'll show you what the qualifications for these programs are. We're also going to show you how we structure some of these transactions to get in with just a few $1,000s out of pocket, and how to find homes that actually qualify for these programs, and how to connect with free quality experience representation that can help you every step of the way. I always tell people, if you follow my steps, regardless of your current situation, you can purchase, okay? Whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years, I've got people I've been working with for an extended period of time. Just like I know life firsthand gets in the way of our plans. So for my life, it's always 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So I am totally understanding with that. And like I said, things happen. So let's start off with some success story. Here is probably my most favorite success story. This is Emily. Emily purchased a home on Freeland in Detroit. Now, Emily is one of those people, she is just so positive, and she just knows how to will things across the finish line. So she is what I consider my best success story, because her transaction was a little bit complicated because it wasn't a traditional house that was for sale. It was a house that was in what we call a short sale, which just means that the seller owed more money than it was worth because they were on a reverse mortgage. But Emily loved the house, loved the area. It took a little bit more time, but we got her done. And basically, Emily is on a fixed income. So don't let anybody tell you that you can't purchase a house with a fixed income or being on Social Security. It can be done. Now, she purchased this home on Freeland for $117,800. At the time of closing, she received a grant or a down payment assistance that is a forgivable loan. So it basically is a grant. After 3 years, she gets to keep $25,000 as long as she owns the home. In addition, we piggybacked a 3% gift down payment program. So that was another $3,500 on top. Then we got another $5,000 grant to cover her closing costs, and then another $500 grant to cover her appraisal. So all in, she received $33,134. And at the time that she signed her contract, she only needed $500, and then at closing, she only needed $200. I think with her home inspection, she was just over $1,000, and she was able to purchase this home and walk away with that $33,000 in money that was used to buy the house. So great story. Very happy for her. And I talk to her, it seems like twice a month for various situations. And I appreciate the referrals she has sent me, several people. Now, who is tonight for? It's for anybody that's just tired of renting. Anybody that's, heard promises before from landlords or lenders and they just haven't kept them. Okay. I'm not gonna sit here and blow smoke and say these are the easiest things in the world. Doesn't necessarily work that way. There's no magic here, okay? And sometimes there's a bumpy road that goes along with it. But I'll be very transparent and tell you when you need to hold on when it gets a little bumpy. But for the most part, these programs are not that challenging to get into. So I'm going to go over several success stories to give you a feel for the types of houses that we work with, how the programs work. And I always tell people, hey, just imagine, what if we can get you into one of these? Is it going to change your family's life now owning a house versus being subject to a landlord and not knowing where your rent's going to be, whether or not he's going to sell it on you. A whole slew of reasons. Right now, the quality of rentals out there is so disheartening. So I just had somebody the other day said, what if I never had to move again because I owned it? Because if you're renting something, you're probably going to have to move someday. So you might as well own it. So if you're tired of renting, you're in the right spot. Here's one that we just did. We got this one under contract probably about 2 weeks ago with Nate. Haven't closed on it yet, but Nate was purchasing this home. This is actually out in Highland Township. So this doesn't have to be in the Detroit metropolitan area. This is out there. Actually, it's White Lake Township. He purchased this house for $260,000. He is getting a $14,000 forgivable down payment program. So it's covering all of his down payment. He's just got to come up with his closing costs. In addition, there's a program out there now that will give you a solar package to put on his roof. And it's basically used in conjunction with the down payment assistance to control the utilities or his electrical bill. First time I've ever done one of those programs. So excited about that. So if anybody's out there thinking about they might want to have a solar package, let me know. I'd be happy to connect you with that program. Here's another one, Kenneth. Kenneth is a new friend of mine. Kenneth actually met me about 30 days ago, and he called me while he was in his barber's chair. So he had told his barber how he was looking at this house. It was down on Lamphere, which just happens to be the address that I grew up on, down between Finkel and McNichols. It's actually an area called Brightmoor, if you know the city. Kind of a tough area. And the house that Kenneth was being shown by another agent, he was telling his barber that he felt like he was being pushed or bullied into buying it. You know, he needed a house, so that wasn't a question. It was whether or not he saw value in it. And they were kind of like trying to shoehorn him in it. So he told his barber in the middle of the haircut said, call this guy, John. And he did. And next thing you know, I get him approved for a down payment assistance program. He's on a fixed income. We were able to get him approved for twice. The house that he was looking at was about $45,000, $50,000. So you can imagine the quality that it was or state that it was in. So we got him approved for this one. This one's over at, it's between Greenfield. It's close. I would say west of Greenfield, north of 7. He bought this one $95,000. Been redone top to bottom. Okay, new roof, new siding, new windows, and the inside looks just as nice, if not nicer than the outside. Okay, so we got him approved for a $10,000 down payment assistance program through the state of Michigan. And it looks like the appraisal is going to be done tomorrow. It looks like we're probably going to be flipping him to a $25,000 program. So we might be able to do a little bit better in his situation. So when I get people approved for programs, and you'll see when we pull up some of these grants, it's not a matter of being approved for one. I like to make sure people are approved for a couple. That way, if one doesn't work, we've got another one to pivot to. Okay? So I just don't like, I like to have options, I guess is the best way to put it. So right now, he paid for a home inspection, which was $250, and then he paid for a $750 for the deposit. That's it. He won't need anything at closing now. Okay, so very, very happy for Kenneth. Here's another one. This one actually closed. Shannon purchased this one on Wyoming, and I appreciate Shannon and her friends. Shannon was referred to me by a lady by the name of Melody. They both worked, and a couple of other people, through the Kroger at 8 Mile in Wyoming. My name got out there. So Sharon wanted something close to the Kroger, so we purchased this home on Wyoming. It was redone inside and out. She purchased it for $117,000. She only needed $2,000 at closing. She actually qualified for a zero down grant program. So we didn't get any money, but we got in with zero down. And with that, we get a below market interest rate and no mortgage insurance. So it keeps her payments very manageable. Okay. In her case, I think it was closer to $800 a month, which is certainly less than what a lot of people are paying in rent right now. So very, very happy for Shannon. Now, my goal this evening, first and foremost, is to give you confidence that you can be the person in those pictures, that we can create a situation where you can be successful tapping into some of these programs. Because I find that a lot of people end up coming to my webinars sometimes 2 or 3 times before they reach out and I don't know whether it's because they try to get the confidence to call. Okay. And that could very well be, I understand it, or maybe they're skeptical. So I totally get that. I'm afraid to even answer my phone anymore with all the scam calls that are out there. So I try to give people enough stories and enough referrals. Heck, if anybody just wants to reach out to me, if you want to even talk to some of my previous customers, I'm always happy to pass along names and numbers that way. So my goal this evening, in addition to giving you the confidence, is to give you the knowledge that you can pull this off, okay? And most importantly, to schedule a strategy call with me. So that strategy call, I'm just going to learn your situation so I can put myself in your shoes. Now, a lot of people think that maybe everything in their life isn't perfect. And I got news for you. It's never perfect, at least not in my household. But you don't have to have perfection to get done on these programs. Okay. You just need to be okay. And I'm never going to judge. I'm going to tell you what you need to do to be okay. Okay. From a credit score standpoint, income standpoint, maybe debt to income ratio standpoint, things we're going to cover in just a few moments. But for the most part, like I always tell people, whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years, it doesn't matter. I'm happy to coach you the whole way. Also this evening, I want to dispel a lot of common beliefs. Number one, that you need a lot of money. You don't. If you've got a couple of $1,000s, which is usually less than what it'll take to even find a rental in the area, you can get something across the finish line. And a couple of people that I already told you about this evening, they didn't even have that. Okay. So we can structure it along the way. So for example, I realize when I talk to people or when I get introduced to people, more often than not, they weren't planning on making a move. It's just that when I give them all this valuable information and content and they feel empowered like they can do this, their budget doesn't always line up. So I understand that. So it's not uncommon for me to tell people, hey, home inspection is going to be $300. Be prepared for that. Okay. After that, maybe a week later, we'll do the appraisal, $500. And then if your budget's tight, we'll push as much as we can to the closing. Okay. So as long as I know what your situation is, I can work with you on that. Okay. The other thing that I want to dispel as far as a common belief is that you need good credit. You don't need good credit. Fair credit works. I mean, I've got programs right now that will get people in with credit scores above a 580. Okay, so if your credit score is above 580, good news, you qualify today. Now, if your credit score is below that, I do a credit boosting webinar. I do it once a month. I think the next one I'm doing, I think it might be September 6th, 7th, or 8th. I'll get that date for you in a few moments, and I'll send you that link. In fact, I'll put that link in the chat box right now. So here it is. credit.nobutdownpaymentrequired.org. Click this link, register for my credit boosting webinar. That boosting webinar will teach you how to get your credit score up 60 points in 60 days. I will give you all the tools that I use, all the coaching to manipulate your scores, and give you some good predictable timelines as far as how quickly you can pull this off. Okay? So the other thing, fixed income. Don't let somebody tell you because you're on a fixed income, you can't get this done. Is it more challenging? Yeah, it is, but it can be done. Okay. I think I told you, let's go back here. Kenneth is on a fixed income. Shannon's not, but the first person, Emily was on a fixed income. So 2 of the 4 people that I went over this evening are on fixed incomes. And what I mean by that is Social Security. So their income was limited. We have a couple of options that we can help people with to get them into quality homes if you're on a fixed income. Okay. Now, I also my asks for this evening. There's a few asks actually that I'm going to have right now. Number one, I am trying to get the subscribers up on my YouTube channel. Okay, so number one, here is a link to my YouTube channel. Please click on that and follow me there. Also, my Facebook channel, right here. If you could follow me there, give me a thumbs up, hit the alert button, or subscribe to my channels, and then you'll get all the content as I upload it. And it's what I'm trying to do is if I can get my followers up, I find what I've learned is once I can hit that 1,000 threshold, my message gets spread a lot more swiftly. Okay. All right. Here is, another success story. Here is Tashiana. She actually qualified for a $25,000 down payment assistance program the last go around through the city of Detroit. Now, keep in mind that city of Detroit program, there is some chatter that it's coming back. Okay. No definites yet, but if you are interested in now that $25,000 program through the city of Detroit, last go around, I got people approved with credit scores down to 540. So it is not a credit score driven program. That's a free $25,000. Just own the home for 3 years. The money's all yours. So you could structure it where you take $20,000 for the down payment and we hold $5,000 back for the closing costs. Absolutely great program. It's one of those things that it's almost too good to be true. One thing I will tell you is a lot of people are anxiously awaiting. So as quickly as it comes out, the money's going to disappear. So if you live in the city and you are interested in it, please reach out to me so I can put you on the list, because the day that it comes out, I am going to be registering probably about 20 to 30 people so we can lock down the money for them. So what I would need you to do is, thank you for following me, Lynn. What I will need you to do is give me your name, phone number, email address, and your current physical home address. You have to live in the city of Detroit currently to qualify for it. Okay? So reach out to me. That is a program where I don't care what you're doing. If you are renting right now, you would be foolish not to sign up for that program. Okay? So, all right. Tashiana qualified for that. She purchased this home on Rosemont for $123,000. Great quality house. Kitchen was all redone inside. She only needed $500 when we made the offer, and then at the time of closing, $1,000. I can tell you firsthand, Tashiana was not thinking of buying a house. No way. It wasn't even on her radar. She is a wonderful single mom, 2 beautiful daughters, and her budget we just had to work with, and we did. So we got $500 up front, and then it took us a little while to get this one across the finish line, maybe a couple of months, and she was able to save up that next $1,000. So $1,500, and she was able to get in. So very, very happy for her. All right. Now I want to go over, these are the top items I want to go over this evening. Number one, how do we access these programs? Well, mentioned this earlier, we just created an application. Okay. It helps you dial into all the down payment assistance programs and grants across the countries. Now, down payment assistance versus grants. Down payment assistance are programs that typically half of them have to be repaid. Sometimes they're forgivable after a few years. So, and then the other side of it are grants. Grants are free money. So we always want to try to hit grants first. So as I look at things, hey, is it a grant? Great. Sometimes we can stack these programs on top of each other like I demonstrated before. Okay. So if your credit score is up there and you check the boxes, we can sometimes run the table and hit 2, 3, 4 grants. Okay. It's rare, but it does happen. And I don't know too many people that are going to be able to get you done on more than one grant, but I do it routinely when everybody checks those boxes. Now, as far as the app, this is what it looks like. This is where you're going to get it. It's nodownpayment.app. Let me get you, I'm going to get you the links If you have an Apple phone, okay, here is the link for the Apple Store where you can download our app. If you have an Android phone or a Google phone, there it is, play.google.com store. Click the bottom one, okay? Apple Store, Google Store. Click there, download my app, okay? You can plug in addresses and run different scenarios. Do me a favor when you go in there, if you'd be so kind, after you do it a couple of times, leave me a review. Okay, I'm trying to get this out to the masses. Actually, I'm starting to get activity across the country. Even though we just launched it less than a week ago, we're starting to get organic traffic with people using it. So I kind of suspected there was a need out there, but didn't know it was going to be that big. So anyways, this is what it looks like once you get to the app. Takes you right to entering an address. Now, I've got a few people that have entered addresses here, and I'm going to go and give you a feel for what it looks like. Hey, Latoya, I've got your place in Southfield here. Let's see what Southfield has to offer. Type in the address. Okay, so this house on Arbor Place qualifies for 19 programs. All you have to do is hit the Get Details button, enter your information. Here, I'll enter mine. Click Get Details, and you're going to be emailed a list instantly telling you all the programs you qualify for. Excuse me 1 second. I'm going to try to get this email while we are. Should have opened up my email here. Let's see. Okay, there it is. Okay, just to give you a feel for what the email looks like when you get it, this is what you're going to get. An email just like this. It's going to say, thank you for viewing Down Payment Connect page for John Collins. Here, 15640 Arbor in Southfield qualifies for 19 different homebuyer assistance programs up to $30,000. So all we have to do is go through, here we'll extend this, go through this list, and let's see, what is the 30,000 is 25 for community. Oh, here we go. Federal Home Loan Bank of New York has a homebuyer dream program that's offering $30,000 for a second mortgage. So that's probably a down payment assistance program. So and then I can look up the details to see if it's anything. Sometimes you don't have to make payments on it. It just sits there as a silent second mortgage, and after a certain period of time gets extinguished. Sometimes you got to repay it a little bit and then it goes away. And then sometimes you just don't do anything. And when you sell it, they may want the money back. Everyone's a little bit different. Okay. So schedule a call with me and I will be happy to go over that situation with you just to give you a feel for what it would take to get into each one of these programs. In fact, here is a link to my calendar, nodownpayment.com/book, where you can actually book a call with me. Happy to run through these scenarios with you. All right. There were a couple of other addresses that were in here. Looks like Lynn, Detroit, Michigan. I can tell you, Lynn, thank you so much. Wilma in Detroit. Detroit has 23 programs across the city. If you're looking at something that happens to fall in an empowerment zone, that skyrockets. Okay. So, in fact, I had one that was $69,000 yesterday or the day before in the empowerment zone. Hey, Brian Bradshaw, glad you could make it. Queen K, Letitia, Henry, Latoya, great. All right. Thank you all for the thumbs up. Let's try this one on Louise in Detroit. Let's see how many we get here. Chances are, I think this one's going to be 23 programs, but you never know. Let's take a peek. And paste. All right. And 21 programs on this one. Get some details and let's see how many programs we qualify for there? Okay, iPhone for Louise, 21 programs, $30,000, and I bet you it's probably that. Yeah, the Bank of New York again, Home Buyer Dream Program, HDP. So lots of money out there. Let's see. I think there might have been one more. Okay, we got 200. Binder. Boy. You know, I've been all over Metro Detroit, and I think I know the city about as well as anyone, but right now I can't place Binder at all. Okay. 21 programs on Binder, and I would suspect it's probably going to be that same program. There gets to be a common theme sometimes with some of these, but let's just take a peek to be safe. And we'll go back. And let's see, for 2000 Binder in Detroit, $30,000. So anyways, lots of programs. Now, who's to say maybe we don't check all the boxes for this Home Buyer Dream Program through Federal Bank of New York? Maybe we go to the one for Des Moines, the Home Start programs offering $25,000. Here's another one, Federal Home Loan Bank of Chicago, Down Payment Plus, offers 25% down. That's huge. So 20% of the purchase price. So when you start thinking about it, that number could be bigger than the 30, depending upon how the size of the house you're looking at. Okay. And then there's always the standard. State of Michigan has 10,000. That's one that's kind of like a gold standard. That's always available. So lots of programs to help people. And these all have different criteria, different income levels, different credit scores. So lots of things out there. Okay. So please download my app, hit me up. Run some scenarios. Love to connect with you and talk shop with regards to how to qualify for some of these programs. Now, with that being said, let's move on to our next one. What are the qualifications for this program? You are welcome. Great. Glad you all like it. Good. All right. Qualifications. So what does it take to get approved for a lot of these programs? Now, a lot of them do have, there's several basic things that they look for. Number one, we've got to have the income to support the house payment. Okay. We've got to have the credit to qualify for the program. With regards to the assets, I always tell people the assets is basically your out-of-pocket money. Okay. Don't worry about that part. I know it sounds crazy, but the money's the easy part for me. With all of these programs out there, I'll find you the money. So I find that when I coach people, I'm telling people, take your money, pay down your debts, let's get a spike in your score, or let's make life easier for you before you get saddled with a house payment. Okay. Sometimes with these programs, you don't want to show a lot of money. So some of the programs have restrictions. If you have more than $20,000 or $30,000, you may not qualify. So anyways, so with regards to the property, though, so you've got income, credit, assets, and property. The property has to be in good habitable condition. Now, for the income, a lot of these programs have income restrictions. You can't make possibly above the area median income, although there are some programs that have no income restrictions. Sometimes they may not want to see more than 45% of your income is pretty much a standard go to your house payment and your overall bills. So if you have income of say $4,000 a month, 45% of that would be $1,800. So they don't want to see more than $1,800 a month go to your new house payment along with whatever bills are showing up on your credit report. Now, with regards to your income, they do need to show you've had income coming in for 2 years. Now, if you're laid off for a little while, that's fine. Maybe we go back 3 years to show that 2-year work history. That's all. So if you're W-2'd where they take taxes out, they typically want to see a 40-hour work week. If you're part-time, they can do it, but they need a 2-year history of part-time income in order to do it. Now, if you're self-employed or receive 1099 income, you do need to have at least 2 years of tax returns to pull that off. With regards to credit, a lot of the programs will, as long as your scores are above a 640, you're good. If you're above 680, we can start stacking some programs like I showed you earlier with Emily. I probably got an example coming up with April and a couple of other people. Now, if your credit scores are below, as long as they're above 580 right now, I've got some options. If your credit score is below 580, I've given you access to my free credit building webinar. It is not hard for me to get a quick lift for your credit. So if your credit, I always tell you, if your credit scores are above 520, just tune into my credit repair webinar. There are at least 2 or 3 tools that can get your credit scores up 60 points in 60 days quite easily. But sometimes what I want to do is I want to chat with you, because sometimes, as much as building the credit up, we want to make sure, see if we have to tackle some of the old baggage that's out there. Okay. And so I'm very in tune with that. No recent late payments. That can be a killer. If you have late payments within the last 6 months, that can derail things. Okay. Reach out to me if you do. Happy to learn your situation and walk through it with you. There are ways to phrase a conversation to try to get late payments removed from your credit. And I go over that in detail on my credit building webinar. Someone's asking for my credit. Here we go. Here is a link to my next credit building or credit boosting webinar. Okay. I will tell you, I will give you an idea when that is. Here it is. The next one is September 6th at 10 a.m. That's a Saturday. Okay. Okay. So with your credit scores, don't think that credit can hold you back. You got to start somewhere. Okay. I didn't really share with you my story, but I've been through all of this firsthand. Okay. About 13 years ago, I had a couple of business failures, and it was a hard fall down. And so bankruptcy, foreclosure, you name it, ran through it all. I'll spare you the details with that right now. But I learned how to build my credit back from scratch to get my scores up to a point where I could buy again within it was 3 years because of the foreclosure. Typically, if you don't have a foreclosure, it's 2 years. 2 years after you declare bankruptcy, I can get you in a house. Okay. But what happened is, when my wife and I were buying a house again, and this is really what got me started on these down payment assistance and grants, I actually qualified for a down payment assistance program. At the end of the process, the loan officer didn't bother to apply me for that down payment assistance program. Now, it still irks me today that he didn't do it, but I kind of thank him, because it sent me down this rabbit hole of, getting into real estate and helping people do this. And once I found that was my calling. I mean, this is just, I don't know if you could tell, I love what I do. So helping people, especially the doubters, oh my gosh, very few things give me as much pleasure as when someone doubts that we can get them across the finish line. Okay. So that's when I take a personal interest and handhold people. So anyways, so with regards to credit, recent late payments and collections, those can derail things for a period of time. So we don't want to see any late payments or collections within the last 6 months, but it's not the end all be all. If it's an isolated incident, we can sometimes explain that away. Okay. But that's a real disruptor. So if you need help, like I said, here's the link, credit.nodownpaymentrequired.org/home. That's a link to my credit repair webinar. Okay. Now, as far as qualifications, like I said, we want to keep those ratios below 45%. We want to get your credit scores above a 580, and try to have at least a couple $1,000s from start to finish to buy a house. And any houses that you see, we want to make sure they're in good habitable condition. Now, How do we structure these transactions? Well, I'm going to give you the feel. I'm in southeastern Michigan. I always like to do a $150,000 house because that is a price that is close to what people are paying in rent. Right now, a 2-bedroom apartment in southeastern Michigan is $1,350. That's Wayne, Oakland, Macomb County. Right now, a $150,000 house is running about $1,350 a month. So if I could get you out of a 2-bedroom apartment and into a 3-bedroom brick ranch, let's say, and it's only going to cost you a couple of $1,000s and the payments are same as what you're paying in rent, why wouldn't you do it? Especially because the quicker you do it, the quicker you're going to start building wealth. And what I mean by that is where you are today isn't where you're going to be tomorrow. 10 years from now, that $150,000 house could very well be worth $250,000. Okay. Right now, what I'm finding is a whole, actually not one, but 2 generations of people, anybody from 20 to 38 years old to 40 years old, they're giving up on home ownership. And it's sad. The average home buyer right now is 38 years old. And what's sad about it is they're giving up on creating wealth for the long haul. So if I can get you into something when you're in your mid-20s, by the time you're 30, you're probably going to be sitting on $100,000. That $100,000 is probably going to equate to a lot more money by the time you retire. Okay, if you can retire. Heck, I don't know if I'll ever be able to retire. But be that as it may, this is how the scenario works from a number standpoint. So if you find a house that's $150,000, let's just say the taxes are roughly $2,000. Closing costs might be a couple thousand. Your homeowner's insurance might be $1,500. Your title insurance would be $1,200. Your closing costs to buy a house right now is about $6,500 to $7,000. In this case, $6,500. The down payment on this house is $5,250, 3.5% down. That's what most of the programs would require. So the total to buy this house would be $11,950. If all I do is get you a $10,000 down payment assistance program, the total amount you would need is $1,950. Just that simple. And if we need to sharpen the pencil a little bit more, we can. To give you a feel for it, the payments, your principal and interest payments will be about $950. See the $948 here? Taxes $166, homeowners insurance $125, mortgage insurance $75. Total payment on this house is $1,314. So the same as what you're probably paying in rent right now. The main difference is out of that payment, you're probably going to have a couple $100 a month going towards your equity every month. Plus the home's going up in value. It's a win-win. So that's how we structure some of these transactions. When it comes to finding a home, now, locating a quality home, it's becoming easier, okay? I understand, people are telling you that the real estate market is tough. In the rest of the country, it isn't. And that's on our doorstep right now. I don't want to call it a buyer's market yet because the rental market is in such sad shape. It's pushing a lot of people. It's forcing them to buy is what it's doing. But I always tell people it's never too soon to start looking at houses. Here is a link to my website, micitysearch.com. I always tell people it's never too soon to start looking at houses. In fact, I think it's great because you're going to be more knowledgeable. That way, when you find a house that has value, you're going to know it and you're not going to think twice about it. And that way you won't lose out because speed is what wins a lot of the time. Now, when you're looking at these houses, I find that it's always wise to look at some of the houses that have been on the market for 2 to 3 weeks. And the reason is a lot of these houses that are being sold are coming back on the market a couple weeks later because deals are falling apart. And the reason they're falling apart, when people bid on houses that are brand new to the market, they're overpaying. They realize it. And then the deals start coming apart. The appraisals don't come in. The buyer finds the buyer can't get approved now. There's a multitude of reasons. But I always tell people, once these deals fall apart, you're going to find sellers are a little bit better grounded. They're easier to work with. The sellers start chasing the market because, hey, why did my deal fall apart? Usually once the seller gets an offer accepted, they're already thinking of how they're going to spend their money. So my job is to find out, why did it fall apart? Was it overpriced? Did the buyer come to the realization that they were overpaying? Was there a lot of work to be done on the house? Was there too much maintenance that was deferred? Were the taxes too high? Were there some assessments? Lots of reasons. I'll figure that part out. I also find if the house has been on the market for a couple of weeks, the sellers are more flexible, which means they might be willing to pay some of your closing costs to get your prices down. Okay. Now, as you're looking at some of these houses, pay close attention to the photos. Look at those images online. Look at the roof. Does that roof look like it's in good shape? Do the ceilings have stains or do they look clean? Are the floors good? Do they look straight? The basement floors have stains or not? Look at the walls in the basements. Lots of things lots of ways you can pick up whether the house needs some work or not. Sometimes we can pick out houses very quickly and set them aside. Okay? That way we're only looking at quality houses. So, never too early to start looking. Now, the key to this whole equation is you got to hook up with experience, okay? Don't let somebody be your learning partner for these down payment assistance programs and grants. Actually, the lenders that I work with, a lot of times they won't even work with new agents on these because there's an art to getting these across the finish line, okay? And a lot of loan officers don't have the time to give to you the way that we do, by giving you this educational content and teaching you what's normal, what's not normal, what to look for, where are the potholes on the road that we're heading down. That's my job, okay? I'm not here to sell you anything. I tell people we don't sell houses. We just keep people from making mistakes. If we feel like you're about to make a mistake, that's when we're going to definitely jump in and say something. Because there's more than one house. Whether you buy the house that we show you today or tomorrow, it doesn't matter. There's always more houses coming up, okay? So make sure you align yourself with someone that has that type of mindset. A lot of times I'll have people that'll find me and they'll go, wow, I was working with an agent. They're kind of pushing me into buying this house. It shouldn't go that way, okay? The house will sell itself. You'll know as soon as you walk in the front door, 90% of the time, it sounds corny, but the house is going to speak to you. And when it does, that's when you're going to know. That's when myself and my team, that's when we start looking. Okay, I can tell by the body language this person likes the house. We need to make sure that it's going to pass the inspection and everything else. Okay, I just had somebody yesterday that was working with an agent, made an offer on a house, and the inspection failed because the basement had some structural issues. The basement foundation failed. I've never had a foundation fail. And the reason is that stuff's obvious. You shouldn't be going through a contract and getting a home inspector and wasting your money on an inspection for stuff that's obvious. So make sure you align yourself with experience to sniff that stuff out. There's no sense investing time in something that's not worth it when it comes to looking at houses. Now, when it comes to getting some of these programs, you want to make sure, let me make an introduction for you. Do not just call a lender blindly and think that you're going to get quality service. I'm going to tell you, it just doesn't work that way. I had somebody last week. They went to Bank of America, okay? Bank of America offers a lot of money on some of their programs, but I'll tell you what, their customer service, not good. And if you call them directly, you're going to be dealing with somebody out of Jacksonville, Florida in their call center that may or may not return your call in a day or two, okay? But they're giving you a lot of money. Don't do that. Let me talk to you and get you connected with a loan officer in Michigan that I know. That way, if someone doesn't return your phone call or there's a hiccup, and there's always a little hiccup, I can jump in because I know them. If you go to a call center and somebody, they're not going to know who I am and they will not talk to me, and I can't help get you across the finish line. More importantly, I can share your story with the loan officers so we make sure that you can get approved and communicate with them every step of the way. And then when we run into those hiccups, I can hold them accountable. Okay. And sometimes it doesn't have to be that way, but sometimes it is. Hey, I need you to find a way to get this one done. I know you didn't see it in the beginning, but this, and this. Okay. So having some gray hair behind the scenes is what I call it, is a good thing. So, and that's where I like to come in. Okay. I've been doing this since 1987. I got my real estate license. After that, after doing it for about 5-6 years, I got married and I spent over 25 years in the mortgage world. That's how I know to dial into a lot of these programs and to get things across the finish line. So I can have those high-level conversations with other agents and, more importantly, loan officers to get you across the finish line. Okay. So my goal is to identify what programs you're going to get qualified for and find at least 2 or 3. Like I said, stuff gets in the way. We want to make sure that you're going to get your family excited for a move that's going to come to fruition. What I don't want to do is get somebody excited and then have to pull the rug out. Okay. And if it's no, I mean, I never really tell anybody no. I just say maybe just not right now. Okay. But this is what we need to do, but we'll give you some options. Okay. I'm also going to help you structure the transaction for your pocketbook to get in with as little money out of pocket. And I say your pocketbook because it's not a matter of selling you the biggest house that your pocketbook can afford. It's what your budget can afford, especially when you're raising a family. Okay. It's not cheap out there. I mean, I have 4 kids. Every time my wife and I go to the grocery store, I thank God that our kids are grown. I can't believe what it is or what it costs to fill up a grocery cart nowadays. So you don't want to spend your whole paycheck on your mortgage payment. And you don't want somebody that thinks you should either. Okay. So it's going to be key to learning to structure your deal, negotiate that to make sure you can get in the most value or get the most bang for your buck with a home. And like I said earlier, help you navigate all the way to the final mortgage approval. And most importantly, keep your numbers in line. Okay. I don't really have surprises at closing because I've been doing it long enough where I can give you a pretty close number, maybe once or twice a year out of the whatever 50 people I might work with. I might have one person where I told them they could get in with 2,000 and it came in at 3,000. And you know what? I'll find a way to get it to 2,000. That's just the way I am. Okay. So, because if your budget is that tight, I want to honor that part of it. Okay. And between myself and the loan officer, there's usually ways to get things down if needed. There's a lot of levers out there to pull and buttons to push to get you where you need to be. Okay. Now, one thing I want to go over this evening, I want to give you one house that just hit my radar. Okay. This is a house that's going on the market. It's actually going to go on the market in the next couple of days. Here it is. It's a house in Inkster. Okay. Very nice couple. They bought it 5 years ago. They are moving up north. Okay. This is a 3-bedroom brick ranch, 1,200 square feet with a 2-car attached garage. Okay. Qualifies for all the programs. Somebody could get into this house with just a couple $1,000s out of pocket. And I think their payments might be, I'm guessing maybe $800-900 a month. Now, the reason we have it priced at $100,000, and by the way, identical home 1 block away sold for $140 2 months ago. The reason is it needs some paint inside. It needs a little bit of love inside. But just the same, they don't want, if I put this house up for $100,000 today, I can tell you I'm going to have 100 people going through that front door because the neighborhood justifies a lot higher price. They basically confided in me that they want to make it go away. If I can just bring 5-6 people through and get them that price, they would be ecstatic. Okay. So 3-bedroom, 1950s brick ranch, full basement, 2-car attached garage. By the way, 2 bathrooms, one on the main floor and one in the basement. Okay. needs a little bit of love, but it just needs maybe some carpet. Actually, you can pull the carpet up, but there are hardwood floors underneath. Paint. Kitchen could use a little update, and so could the bathroom. Okay, I don't think it's original, but can use a little bit of updating. That's all. But outside of that, it's got a nice big living room. So if anybody is looking in this area, I would encourage you to reach out to me as soon as possible. This one probably will be gone by the end of the week. Okay, but this is my top pick. In fact, let me see 3427 Irene. Let me see what it would be for my app. Okay, let me get this. Okay, and let's go back here. Oops. Okay. 3427. 3427. Michigan, and what did we say that was? Okay. 3427. Irene, 48141. $20 programs. Let us see. Okay. $30,000, probably the one. There it is. So yes, you could probably get your payments down to about $800 a month on this one using some of these DPA programs. Crazy amounts of money right now. Okay, so as far as the programs tonight, we went over all the different programs you can tap into, what the qualifications are, how to structure transactions, how to find homes of quality, and how to get free quality experience representation. You know, before I forget, why don't we start opening some things up for questions? What kind of questions do people have out there? Anything, Latoya, Wilma, Brian? All right. Oh, also, let me give you my cell phone number, 248-252-7283. If you have any questions, feel free to text me. I'm a big texter. I'm a phone jockey. I'm on the phone all day, so don't hesitate to shoot me a text. Now, if anybody wants to be placed on that $25,000 list coming up, hopefully that program comes back. They're thinking October. Got it. Queen K, which links were you looking for? And I'll try to get those back in there. Or just give me a call or shoot me a text. I'll be happy to try and email as many as I can. So what I would encourage you to do is take my cell phone number, the 248-252-7283. Text me your name, email address, phone number, and your current address, and say 25K, and I'll put you on that list. Okay, got it. Please shoot me a text, Wilma. Yes, I want all the information we get. Okay, so I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of information that I cover, and there's a lot of stuff out there, Wilma, sending you everything. Try to be just a little bit more specific. Maybe shoot me a text. Hey, Nettie. Good. Hi, Nettie. Hey, Latoya. What questions do you have, Latoya? Let me get in here. See, I'm sorry, I just saw that you raised your hand there. I'm actually asking to unmute you if you want to talk, or. Okay. You look like you're outside enjoying some beautiful weather, actually. Nice. Good for you. It's a beautiful day. Why not? So, all right. So, Latoya, you can catch the replay for tonight on YouTube. So, if you go to my YouTube channel, which is called Own the Roof, okay, I'll put it right in the description right now. And what you can do are two things. Number one, follow me there, subscribe to my channel, hit the alert button, and you'll be alerted anytime we have new content. But I'm actually streaming this webinar on Facebook and YouTube right now. So, yeah, so you could go out and catch the replay on YouTube. Okay? Good. Okay. If you just go out to YouTube and just type in Own the Roof, it'll pop right up. Here, if you can see your screen right now, I'll do it. Just I think it'll pop up right like that. YouTube. And Own the Roof. And there it is. 100, yay. Yeah. Yes. So, and then you'll see if you go under where it says live, you can see all my live events that I've done. Okay. So, if your credit scores are above a 580, we've got options immediately. If your credit scores are below 580, we may need to do a little bit of work. It really depends. So if your credit scores are above a 560, we should be talking right away. That's very easy for me to get a quick spike. If the credit scores are closer to the lower 500s, then I would suggest going to my credit repair webinar, which is going to be Saturday, September 6th. And on that, I'm going to teach you several things. Number one, how do we attack some of the baggage that's on there, the best do's and don'ts. And sometimes, oddly enough, there are some don'ts with regards to handling collections. So I always tell people, do not pay off old collections. That can actually hurt you in the short term. And more importantly, how do we build new credit? Because they want to see that as well too. So it's not it's all about, you'll see here, if you can look at the screen, how to get your credit scores up 60 points in 60 days. That is very easy for me to do on this webinar. Okay. Good. Okay. Well, I hope to see you there on the 6th. If you have any questions in the meantime, schedule a call with me or shoot me a text. I'm happy to help any way I possibly can. And if you have anybody that can benefit from my app or anything I do to help people, I just love helping as many people as possible. Okay. Thanks, Latoya. I appreciate it. Okay. You're welcome. Bye-bye. All right. Any questions? Any other questions out there? All right. Andre, thank you. Any programs for rent with option to buy? Okay. Great question. What I want to do, I want to touch on this, okay? Because this is the type of environment where rents with options to buy are starting to surface more than ever, okay? Now, I am not a fan of rent with option to buy, and I want to explain why. There are more scams that happen in that area than any other area in real estate. It's just the way that it is. So why is that? Well, there's a couple of reasons. When it comes to renting a house, landlords have to abide by the state law, which says they cannot collect more than 1.5% for a security deposit. So there are some people out there that offer option to buys with no intentions of selling you the house. Okay. They will sell you a house that's less than quality, and you walk in thinking, this is great. I'm going to own it. I'll fix it up. Then what happens is when you go to close on it, since it's a rent with option to buy, they don't have to adhere to the state law that says 1.5% security deposit. They're going to ask you for $5,000, $10,000. I had somebody get burned a couple months ago for $20,000. Okay. He put $20,000 down on a rent to own. Thought it was a great deal. Lived there for 3 years. And you know what he learned during the 3 years? That the house needed a lot of work. In fact, there were a lot of basement issues. There was water always coming in the basement. So then 3 years, he tells the landlord, you know what? I still want to buy this house. The landlord goes, okay, I'll sell it to you. It's worth, the one down the street just sold for $150,000. And he goes, well, yeah, but I gave you $15,000. Well, that was the option to buy. You want to buy it, it's $150,000. Yeah, but it's got all the basement stuff then and all the improvements I've done to it. Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. But the one down the street, still $150,000. Okay, I'm telling you, rent with option to buys over 90% of the time are not what you think they're going to be. Okay, so I would tell you, go into a rent and have that protection. Okay, it's not anything. So now there may be some good rent to option guys out there. Okay, I know of a couple, but I also know hundreds and hundreds of people in the industry. So, so more often than not, I am highly skeptical of rent to owns. Okay, so I'll leave it at that. So, so please, go in slowly. Make sure you negotiate the price of the house up front in the contract as you're doing not down the road when you decide to exercise the option. Okay. So there's a lot of reasons to look for it there. Okay. All right. What other questions do we have out there? Sorry, I don't mean to be too negative about things, but I like to keep it real. What I don't like doing is building false hope, and I don't really care for it when people do that. And I think sometimes they do that with the rent with options. That's all. Okay. All right. Good. Let's see. Any other questions? Okay. Thanks for saying that, Audra. Sometimes I don't want you to go on a tangent, but I always kind of talk from the heart the older I get. So I find that people appreciate that. So, a lot of times, I've been around the block. I've heard no many times in my life. In fact, I respect no the older I get. What I don't respect is when people build false hope in others. And, do it in me is one thing, but don't build false hope in my family. Pulling the rug out on me, I'm a big boy. I've been around the block. I can probably deal with that. But what I can't deal with is if somebody builds false hope in my family and I have to pull the rug out on my family, that's a different story. Then I start to get a little emotional, upset about things. All right. That's just how I roll. So, yes, youtube.com and Own the Roof. Latoya, thank you for resharing that. So, by the way, going back, Audrey, if you need some help on that, where you think, I would invite you to give me a call. I'd be happy to learn your situation and try to help you as much as I can with regards to if you need a credit boost. There are some land contracts out there. I'd rather even see a land contract before doing a rent to own. Okay. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Good. Okay. All right. Well, if there are no other questions this evening, I am going to call it a night. But before I do that, I'm going to give you my phone number again, 248-252-7283. This is my cell number. By far and away, the easiest way to get a hold of me. Like I said, I'm a phone jockey. I'm on the phone all day. So, and don't feel like if you can schedule a call, great. If it's hard to schedule a call, I certainly understand that. You can always text me if I'm available. I try to answer as much as I possibly can. If not, I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So can't thank you all enough for attending this evening on what hopefully is one of many more beautiful days left in this summer. So, okay. Thank you, Lynn. You're welcome. Thanks for the thoughts. Thank you, Wilma. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for attending this evening. So I hope our paths cross again soon. And if there's any way I can help anybody in your network or family, hooking them up with some of these down payment assistance programs or grants, happy to do it. Also, if you could do me a favor and download my app and give it a try and give it a review for me, that would be the best thing you could possibly do for me this evening. I'm really trying to get some traction on that, just so we can help more people. What's available in southeastern Michigan, it's kind of like, that's like my small world. So, it's amazing how much grant money is out there across the country. I think I had one in California was $160,000. One in New York was $260,000. I think Connecticut was $120,000. Miami, Florida has $200,000 available for first-time home buyers right now. Crazy amounts of money out there, and no one really talks about it. So I'm trying to get things spread. The more I can spread it across the country, the better. So if there's any way you could help me and pay it forward and share some of this information with people or in your network, boy, I'd forever be grateful. So thank you all so much. Nettie, you are welcome. Appreciate everything you guys do. Oh, it's on. Okay, thank you all so much, and hope our paths cross again soon. Have a good evening. Good night.